Here's something I genuinely think about late at night. We live in a country where you can drive 10 hours from a major city and end up in a town that looks like the Alps, or the Pyrenees, or some computer-generated fantasy landscape that shouldn't be allowed to exist in real life. And nobody's heard of it. Nobody talks about it. The locals like it that way. America has a secret cachet of mountain towns, small, gorgeous, weather-shaped, occasionally unhinged, that look more like Switzerland than anywhere in the lower 48 has any right to look. Today I'm taking you to 10 of them. Stick around for number 1. It's the town that's going to make you Google property prices before the video is over. 10. Leavenworth, Washington. Leavenworth committed to a bit and never broke character. In the 1960s, the town was dying, so the residents collectively decided to remodel the entire town as a Bavarian village. Every building, every storefront, every sign. Gingerbread trim, alpine fonts, the whole package. Now it's a year-round tourist destination in the middle of the Cascades with real mountain views, an actual river running through it, and one of the most committed themed town aesthetics in America. It looks like Germany dropped a small town in Washington and forgot to come pick it up. Population, 2,200. Annual visitors, about 2 million. The math is wild. 9. Jerome, Arizona. Jerome clings, and I mean clings, to the side of Cleopatra Hill in central Arizona at 5,200 feet. It was a copper mining boomtown. At its peak, 15,000 people. By the 1950s, almost abandoned. The town actually slid down the mountain in places. Some of the buildings are still sliding. Today, Jerome is a tiny arts town of 450 residents built on a vertical grid where some streets pass over the roofs of houses on the street below. Yes, over the roofs. From the top of town, you can see 50 miles across the Verde Valley. It is one of the most visually surreal towns in America. 8. Stowe, Vermont. Stowe is the New England postcard. Mount Mansfield, Vermont's highest peak, looms over the village. White church steeples poke up between the trees. Maple syrup is sold from a sugar house half a mile away. The covered bridge is photographed about 10,000 times a day in October. Population, 5,200. World-class skiing in winter, world-class hiking in summer, and a downtown so charming it borders on parody. Stowe is famous, but seeing it in person still hits. It really does look like a fantasy version of New England, except it's actually New England. 7. Ouray, Colorado. Pronounced Ouray. Ouray is called the Switzerland of America, and they earned the title. Population, 900. Sitting at 7,800 feet in a box canyon, meaning vertical mountain walls on 3 sides, the only opening to the south. The town is full of restored Victorian buildings from its silver mining days. Hot springs bubble up everywhere. There are public springs and natural ones. In winter, ice climbers come from around the world to scale frozen waterfalls in Ouray's ice park. In summer, the wildflowers explode. It is, geographically, one of the most dramatic small towns on the continent. 6. Crested Butte, Colorado. Crested Butte is at 8,900 feet in the Elk Mountains, and the town itself sits in a valley surrounded by jagged peaks that look like teeth. Population, 1,600. Most of the buildings downtown are original Victorian-era miners' homes, painted in bright colors and remarkably preserved. Wildflowers here are legendary. The town is officially Colorado's wildflower capital. Mountain biking is world-class. Skiing is famous among purists, and the town has retained a scruffy, slightly weird charm that places like Aspen lost in 1988. Crested Butte is what mountain towns are supposed to be. 5. Stehekin, Washington. Stehekin has no roads. None. To get there, you take a ferry across 55-mile-long Lake Chelan or a small plane, or you hike. Population, about 100, depending on the season. The town sits at the head of Lake Chelan, deep in the North Cascades, surrounded by mountains that go straight up. There's a bakery, a famous one, a one-room schoolhouse, a small lodge, and that's it. The mail comes by boat. The kids commute to school by van. It is one of the most genuinely remote settlements in the lower 48, and it's astonishingly beautiful. 4. Jackson, Wyoming. Jackson, Often called Jackson Hole, which is the broader valley, sits at the foot of the Tetons, which are arguably the most dramatic mountains in the United States. They rise straight out of the valley floor with no foothills. 13,000 feet of vertical drama, right there. Population of Jacksontown, 11,000. Surrounded by Grand Teton and Yellowstone National Parks. Yes, it's a wealthy town, billionaires have moved in, and yes, that's reshaped things. But the geography is so over the top that no amount of gentrification can ruin it. The view from the Jackson Town Square looking west is one of the great American views. 3. Marfa, Texas. Okay, Marfa isn't technically a mountain town, it's a high desert town at 4,700 feet in the Davis Mountains. But it earns a spot because of how surreal the landscape is. Population, 1,700. Sitting in the middle of West Texas, hours from anywhere. Marfa is famous for being an art town in the middle of nowhere. Donald Judd moved his minimalist sculptures here in the 1970s, and now it's a pilgrimage site. The Marfa lights, mysterious unexplained lights on the horizon, are real, and locals have a viewing area for them. The mountains, the sky, the strange installations, and the total isolation combine to create something that doesn't feel like America. It feels like a film set someone forgot to take down. 2. Telluride, Colorado. Telluride deserves to be ranked separately from Crested Butte, even though they're both Colorado mining towns. Telluride sits in a box canyon at 8,750 feet, surrounded on 3 sides by 13,000-foot peaks. There's a 365-foot waterfall, Bridalveil Falls, at the head of the canyon, the tallest free-falling waterfall in Colorado. The downtown is 9 blocks long. The free gondola takes you up the mountain. The film festival is world famous. And the geography is so absurdly cinematic, vertical walls of rock, snow-capped peaks, a waterfall at the end of the street, that it's hard to believe people just live there. They do. Population, 2,500. The luckiest 2,500 in America, maybe. 1. Silverton, Colorado. Silverton is the answer. Population, 600. Sitting at 9,300 feet in the San Juan Mountains, accessible only by a single mountain pass that gets closed all winter. The town has one main street, a few dozen historic Victorian buildings, and the most stunning mountain backdrop you will see in the continental United States. In winter, Silverton becomes an extreme skiing destination. Silverton Mountain has only one chairlift and no groomed runs. In summer, the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad, a real steam train running since the 1880s, brings tourists up the canyon. Hikers head into the surrounding peaks, where the trails climb above 13,000 feet quickly. The town is so isolated, so high, so surrounded by impossible mountains that the first time you see it, you genuinely don't believe it's a real place. It looks like a model train layout someone built in their basement. But it's real. People live there. They get their groceries flown in during bad winters. They walk to the post office past peaks that look like they belong in the Himalayas. If somebody asked me to point at a single town that proves America's mountains are as dramatic as anywhere on earth, I'd point at Silverton. Number 1. Easy call. 10 mountain towns. All real, all bizarrely under the radar, all small enough that I'm slightly hesitant to make a video about them, but here we are. Drop a comment. Which one are you putting on your road trip list? Or which one would you actually move to if you could? Be honest. The right answer is wrong for everyone. Subscribe. I've got videos coming up on the surprise places Americans are actually moving to, the towns that are about to boom, and the worst retirement destinations in 2026. Don't miss it. See you in the next one.